Is a right, but it's a right that doesn't always come easy for Americans who speak English as a second language. While federal law requires ballots to be translated into many languages, there are several that are not included. Tonight, Chris Stewart looks at what's being done to make sure language isn't a barrier at the ballot box.
Dearborn, Michigan is like many places I've driven through across the country.
This is an all-American city. Football here is like football in Texas.
But this community carries a uniquely important role.
The city of Dearborn has the largest concentration of Arab Americans outside of the Middle East. And so for Arab Americans, it's the capital of Arab America.
Mayor Abdullah Hammoud says Arabic is the primary language for about 40% of the people here.
So, like, here would be.
This is like the Republican Party, and this would be the gubernatorial candidates.
He's showing me one of the first American ballots ever translated into Arabic. Dearborn voters could use it for the first time this year in Michigan's primary.
And here is like an example ballot initiative. This was difficult in English to understand. This is about the jail millage.
While U.S. citizens are expected to understand English, he says ballots are on a different level.
Similar to like me in Arabic, I grew up speaking Arabic at the household, but when I ran for office, I never learned the political terms in Arabic at the household. I learned the basics. What are you eating today? How's the weather?
Arabic is one of the fastest growing languages in the country, but it's not recognized in the Voting Rights Act, which includes a section meant to help those whose native language isn't English.
The legislation was written such that if 10,000 people, or 5% of the population of a political jurisdiction, primarily speak a language other than English, right, they could be included.
Voting Rights Act expert Luis Ricardo Fraga says only languages that fall under the groups listed in the law qualify for federal translation help: Spanish, Asian, Native American, and Native Alaskan.
There are words that you say in Creole that resemble English.
This issue doesn't just impact Arabic. I met Franconin in St. Louis. He speaks Creole.
It's really unique.
So do many of the more than 1 million Haitian Americans in this country, who he told me could benefit from translated voting materials.
Oh, it would mean a lot. It would mean that they matter. It will mean that their voice can be heard.
Now we're able to do that here, and I can't wait until one day we're able to do it across the nation.
But Shams al-Badri with Arab American advocacy group Access says expanding translation services isn't always easy.
What is some of the pushback that you hear?
So that is, a lot of the pushback is, if you are voting in America, you should be able to speak English. So why not make this the democracy process a little easier and ensure that people who want to vote and who want to be part of the election process are able to vote in a language that they are comfortable in speaking.
This fall, Dearborn voters will be able to use Arabic ballots again. The city also passed an ordinance that says ballots will be translated into any language that more than 5% of the community speaks. A move this mayor hopes sends a message.
If you're able to allow a voter to walk in and make a more informed decision, I think it only betters the entirety of our democracy.
I'm Chris Stewart reporting.